Hello, everyone. Welcome to the AI for Good Innovation Factory. My name is Josh Choi from the ITU, International Telecommunication Union, and I'm very pleased to moderate today's Innovation Factory session. ITU is the United Nations specialized agency for ICTs, and then we are also the organizer of AI for Good Global Summit in partnership with 38 UN sister agencies and co-convened with Switzerland. The Innovation Factory is a program which was launched last year under the flagship initiative AI for Good Global Summit. It is an online pitching platform for startups, but not just the pitching event, but also it helps startups grow and scale their innovative AI solutions to achieve the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. And today's session is actually last one of this year, and we have now only grand finale taking place on 9th December after this session, where the winners of total 9 sessions of this year will compete for the final prize. So this year we've got around 150 applications in total from 38 different countries. And it is also growing very, very well as a global pitching startup for startups. But also we are trying to bridge the gap between solution seekers such as our UN partners and government, and also corporates, and solution creators who are the startups in this program. Right, so let me start today's session. Especially today's session is co-hosted with Tortora Brayda Institute for Partnership Excellence with the title of the Top US Silicon Valley Entrepreneur Finalists. I'm so glad to introduce 5 innovators from Silicon Valley today. And on behalf of the ITU, I also would like to give big thanks to Tortora Brayda Institute for co-hosting this session and also sponsoring the grand finale by offering prizes for the winner. So before moving on, let me introduce Mr. Carlo Tortora Brayda di Belvedere, who is the founder and executive chairman of today's co-hosting organization, Tortora Brayda Institute. So Carlo, please tell us about how the institute was founded and what is its role in the innovation ecosystem. Also a little bit about yourself, please.
Thank you very much.
You're on mute, Carlo. You're on mute.
Oh, there you go. I just unmuted. Thank you. Yeah, the Tortora Brayda Institute is a multi-stakeholder platform, really geared at developing dialogue between government, civil society, and private industry. We focus on artificial intelligence and cybersecurity predominantly. And it is a real pleasure for us to introduce really today's event. Very, very excited to be able to welcome all of you to this second year of AI for Good Silicon Valley Innovation Factory contest. The Tortora Brayda Institute and AI for Good task force has evaluated all US applicants and shortlisted today's candidates for the US round. Our institute has had the honor to partner with AI for Good, the United Nations platform for artificial intelligence, yet again in 2021. And we're thankful to ITU for partnering with us, and to Josh Choi for supporting us through every step of the process. I'm also grateful to welcome our distinguished panel of judges, Joseph Hopkins, Sarah Sturley, Aaron Burciaga, and Sydney Tetro. All of you are captains of our industry and have the gravitas, intuition, and depth of experience to make the right choice and select the winner of this US round. I would add, however, that being selected as a US finalist is already a fantastic achievement that all of today's entrepreneurs can be proud of. The world is in a delicate position as many nations and individuals are scrambling to make good on the UN Sustainable Development Goals commitment of 2030, and they're doing so against tough odds. It is our collective duty to do all we can to leverage the power of AI, machine learning, deep learning, to support and embrace technology innovators that can help move forward this overall global effort and help to make our planet a more secure, equitable, and prosperous place for all. I would also like to thank the Institute's AI for Good task force. In particular, I would like to mention Martino Ota, the task force leader, Tim Kapp, and Owen Burns, who was the winner of the US round last year. In addition, I would like to thank the Institute staff as a whole, and in particular, Miguel Garibay, Jill Weidman, Suzanne Runeld, and Jerry Ponce. And finally, I'm grateful to all the contestants for your efforts in trying to make the world a better place through your ingenuity and business acumen. So with that said, I'll hand over back to John.
Thank you, Carlos, for your kind welcome message. Thanks a lot again. Okay, so before moving on, I also would like to introduce our distinguished judge today. Firstly, Ms. Cindy Tetro. She is recognized as an innovator of experience and a growth leader and technologist and STEM advocate and speaker. So Cindy, could you please introduce yourself, please?
Absolutely.
Sydney?
Yep.
Yes, Sydney, yeah.
Yeah, I'm grateful to be here. My name is Sydney Tetro. I'm currently the CEO of Brandless. I've spent my entire career in technology really thinking about both how it is a force for good, and then how do we use this all of these new innovations that come out to really propel us forward. Being mission driven and using technology, and especially this evolution of AI, is something that I've done a lot of in my career. Couple of highlights: I spent about 6 years at Disney. Also focused on technology commercialization. And this was somewhat in the early days of AI, and we've seen massive evolution. So I'm really excited to be a judge today, and congrats to all of the finalist companies.
Thank you, Professor. Also, we are expecting much from your side about your contribution today. Thanks a lot for your time. Okay, let me move to Mr. Aaron Burciaga. So he's a data scientist and also AI engineer. So he's advising, also consulting a lot of organizations who especially want to digital transformation these days. So Aaron, please also introduce yourself.
Burciaga, it's a pleasure to be with you. I've had a little bit of a time being able to support Carlo and the Institute. Really helping all of us change how AI is being applied. I'm very passionate about. We have to be that change in order to lead the change for global prosperity, national security, and human happiness. I live here in Leesburg, Virginia. I'm the Vice President for an artificial intelligence systems integrator and consulting company. Looking forward to your pitches.
Thank you, Aaron, for your kind introduction. Actually, you sometimes lost your voice, so perhaps you'd better use your headsets or something, because in some cases you just lost your voices, so we couldn't hear your voice. So yeah, perhaps it would be better. Okay. All right. Okay, let me move to the next judge, Ms. Sarah Sturley, who serves as AWS Global Program Marketing Manager of various AWS startup programs such as AWS Ad Start, and then the GovTech Start, and Cloud Innovation Centers, and Digital Innovations, and etc. So tell us about yourself, Sarah, and also how AWS is helping startups grow and collaborating with startups.
Sure. Well, so really my career background is in B2B tech, PR, comms, marketing, strategic partnerships, really focused on all things tech for good and social impact. So even prior to my AWS stint, I had led the largest tech for good initiative of its kind called Call for Code. I led all of global marketing, comms, and strategic partnerships for that at IBM. And so that's where we were really engaging, the 26 million devs around the world to help, solve pressing global challenges, really related to whether it was natural disasters, climate change, social/racial injustice, et cetera. And so really at AWS, we are heavily focused on doubling down and really empowering the entrepreneur by giving them the tools and resources that they need to really accelerate. And then additionally, are heavily focused on all things tech for good to really make a difference. And so specifically, even really as it relates to the Cloud Innovation Centers, we're currently at 11 different universities around the world. And so it's a really huge focus on not only empowering students, but NGOs, state and local governments, as well as the private sector, to come together to really help solve huge issues. So whether it is related locally or globally, really once again spanning everything from healthcare, sustainability, cybersecurity, smart cities, et cetera. So incredibly looking forward to hearing all of your pitches. And once again, congratulations for making it to this point. Thanks for all you do.
Thanks a lot. It's great to hear about what AWS is doing to foster innovation through the partnership with the startups. And thanks a lot again. All right. So, and then last but not least, Mr. Joseph Hopkins, who is the founder and the senior managing partner of the iPrestige Emerging Fund. And Joseph is a really good supporter of this program overall, and thanks a lot for your time again. Also, please tell us about how you're helping startups scale up, and also why those activities from your side are important for the growth of startups, please.
Happy to do it, Josh. Nice to see you again. First of all, we're a big supporter of the UN, specifically the Innovation Factory. We love the notion of what the UN is doing and trying to spotlight really incredible emerging companies like yourself and trying to help get you folks from a commercialization to the marketplace. So before I even introduce myself, let me just first of all say congratulations to all 5 of you that are pitching today. I know a short 5 minutes is not a lot of time, so pressure is on. I'm sure all of you will do just fantastic. Also, I'd like to welcome my panelists of judge colleagues. Appreciate that as well. Unfortunately, I'll have to buzz out of here a little earlier than usual. I apologize for that, but I've got a presentation I've got to attend to. So we have a couple of companies. The company that we closely align ourselves with here is our iPrestige Emerge Fund. That is a deep technology incubation accelerator. It is in fact an investment fund. And what we largely do is focus on companies such as yourself, these deep technology, very interesting emerging technology companies, whereby which we take a look at what you're doing. And if it's something that fits within our lane, we will make active investments with those opportunities. And then on the other hand, we also have a technology advisory firm, Fallings Technologies. Best to pop on our website. You can certainly read up on what we do, iprestigefund.com. But Fallings Technology, it is a technology advisory firm. So companies call us in to help them look at their technology and ultimately try to help get them to the marketplace. Our bread and butter is actually on our IP valuation assessment services. That's really our bread and butter. Any given month, we're doing 2 or 3 of these very, very extensive valuations where companies will call us in, take a look at the IP portfolios and try to help them understand what the value of that is. We're big believers, by the way, folks, that if you are companies like yourselves where you're developing really interesting technology, it's important to not only protect it, but also try to figure out how to leverage it to help you get working capital. And then with that, our last component of the company that we have there, the Fallings Technologies, we actually will help companies like yourself actually, if you've got good, solid, mature IP, we'll help leverage that for you and help you get financing through that. And we're in midst of probably $500 million worth of deals right now with probably about 14 or 15 different opportunities. So that's enough about us. I'm looking forward to watching you folks go, and congratulations to all of you, and very exciting. Thank you, Josh and company.
Thanks a lot, Joseph. And also it is great to hear that, and also you are also helping with the startups, especially in the issue of the IP. And also perhaps also there must be some startups today here also would need some kind of consultation advice from your side, particularly on that area. And then thank you very much again. All right. So before moving on to the pitching, I'd like to inform all the audience that there is a chat functionality. So everybody can leave some comments and questions to the startups today. So, but please make sure to set the message recipient to all panelists and attendees so that everybody can see your questions, not just to all panelists. So you can select this just above the message box. So the anyone who did a pitch from the starters, and after you pitch, if you find any interesting questions from the audience, feel free to answer through the chat room. Okay, so now let's move on. I'm also very excited to see the all interesting ideas and the products and technologies from the finalists today. So first stage is for Realflow. And so Anupam, are you ready?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Josh.
Yeah. So you can share your screen here.
Can you see my screen, Josh?
Yes. All right. So as far as I understand, the Realflow that uses computer vision and
Yes.
predictive intelligence to monitor traffic flow and volume and directions and predict the future behaviors with the confidence. So yeah, we are very excited to see your presentation. So you've got 5 minutes, and please go on. Stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Josh. Thank you, everyone, for giving us this opportunity to pitch today. And I'm just going to do a little bit of introduction for myself because it will help to kind of set the context for what we're trying to do here. I'm Anupam Kundu. I'm founder of this concept called Realflow, and my background is in technology products and general management, roughly 20 plus years. I have worked with some of the planet-friendly brands like Google and UNICEF, and not so unfriendly banks like JP Morgan Chase and Merrill Lynch, right? So I've had the best of both the worlds. And growing up in India and living in 4 continents and working in 4 continents, I have experienced many accidents and situations where we got into accidents. One time we were driving in Uganda and a truck pulled us over and we had to kind of get off the main road, stop and gasp. So I'm sure I can give a lot of statistics here of how traffic accidents and traffic fatalities are something that we are always worried about. But it will hit home if any of you have ever experienced a near-death scenario on a traffic incident, right? 93% of the world's fatalities occur in low and middle-income countries, and those are the countries which actually has the most proliferation of vehicles. And these are taking away life. 1.3 million people die each year due to road traffic crashes, and this is just a WHO report that came out, I think, a couple of years back. And of course, it's a big problem. It's a wicked problem, and therefore there is a big opportunity to address it. And United Nations have set a big target of reducing the number of deaths and injuries from road traffic crashes to half. And I think that directly addresses 2 of the SDGs, which is number 3, good health and well-being, and number 11, which is building sustainable cities and communities. One thing that I like to mention in this, that this is not about creating just automated driving or electric cars. This is more about building infrastructure that is resilient and actually building something for rest of the world and not just for the first world countries, essentially. Before we go further, I would like to introduce to our team. We have a very, very relevant and global team, US, India, Spain, Switzerland. We all have background in technology consulting. A couple of us have done some work in urban mobility in Spain. And we have some good advisors in there. And we actually have implemented a people tracking system during COVID, which was widely successful. We won some prizes from the how do you call it, the European Union Commission. And then during COVID, we realized that there is an opportunity to go into the traffic space. Because traffic is kind of the heartbeat of everything that's happening right now. And so we embarked on this about 8 or 9 months back. And right now we are having our first beta release of Realflow, which is a privacy-first AI-powered platform, providing actionable road traffic insights. There is a video link. It cannot be displayed, of course, right now during the pitch, but you guys can go and on the YouTube and look for it if possible. And why do we call it a platform? The reason we call it a platform is that because you can build many things on the top of it. So far, we have built 3 things on the top of it. One is you can bring all your traffic videos and we can analyze it and we can tell you what is happening in there, how many cars are there, what type of cars are there, where are they going, are they taking a U-turn or not taking a U-turn. You can store all of your videos with us forever. We don't care. And those are all like offline analytics that you can get from us, right? We call it Real Count and Real Archive. And if you really want it live, then we use the cameras on the road to give you the data that you are looking for. So this is how Real Count works. We give you the vehicle types, etc., on road, junctions, roundabout, pedestrian zone. There is also a video, you can play that on YouTube on how it works. And of course, Real Live, that's there. The data that is coming in live. And one of the benefits that we see is not just the technology or the algorithm or something like that. What we see is that there is a real opportunity to generate income for these municipalities, for these states, for these traffic companies to sell that data to last mile delivery. Actually, right now we are having a conversation with a company, we will mention it later in the slides, where they're launching a last mile delivery company in India. and they could be one of our first clients in India to get our data. So that could be interesting. So our target is, of course, traffic operations departments, traffic planners, police, but our main monetization opportunities lie somewhere else, which is in the private sector, right? The last mile delivery, the logistics, the tourism, and the marketing. So the business model innovation and SDGs that's why we take pride on. We are in active conversations with government in India, state government in India for ambulance detection, toll play. And one of the conversations that we're having is, can we actually identify the vehicle types and get their number to understand which year they are from, and so that way we can understand the emission potential on each and every street of a busy city. And then that way you get a much more objective air quality understanding of that city, right? 2022, we want to grow. Of course, we realize that it's really, really hard to get access to the right people at the right time who are going to help make decisions. So events like this, working with UN, those are some of the things that are really helpful for us. And one of the things that I didn't mention is that currently I am a UNICC consultant. So I was working on COP26 for the phase verification part. So that is one of the things that we helped kind of build. And so we realized that as we go into these multilateral events, that there is a lot of opportunities to connect with the right people. And so for us, the ask is that we want to get connected with the right people in the right countries, working on SDGs 11 and 3, and eventually do some fundraising post that. We are already working with NVIDIA as our partner, Google Cloud, and Growth Run, who is helping us get into India and find our first customer. That's all. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Anupam, for also keeping your time within 5 minutes. And thanks a lot again. Okay, let's move to the Q&A session with 10 minutes, and then judges, ask any questions from the side to Anupam. Anupam, you can stop your screen sharing here.
Thank you.
Anupam, I'll go ahead and lead off. This is Aaron Burciaga. Good presentation. I think I fixed my audio problem that I had earlier. But Anupam, I wanted to ask you about maybe some privacy or data concerns that might arise from the information that you're collecting that tied back to license plates or others. Just like to hear what you've identified and how you might control for that.
Yep, that's a great question. That's just so that you know, right now I'm based in France, and we are talking with some of the European municipalities, and they are really, really very strong on GDPR and things like this, right? So we do not look at license plates. We always blur those license plates, and sometimes we have even figured out there's a company here in Germany that we are trying to have a conversation with, who actually generates synthetic license plates whenever you see a car. So there are multiple options of kind of avoiding those kind of traps. As of now, we are blurring it unless there is a specific requirement from the police or someone like that for exactly that data. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I would say, what is your, I guess, main differentiator from any product that's currently in market, whether it's from corporation to startup? Like, what would you say, if you could, in like one sentence, is your differentiator?
I think our differentiator is the fact, not in the technology. Our differentiator is in the fact that we can actually put together something very quick and a solution that helps in data monetization. That's the differentiation, right? I think the technology, the algorithms, the object detection, the motion detection, the classification, all of those are commodities these days. Anyone can put together, but the fact that you could put together a data monetization model with the private industry, I think that's where it gets more attractive for our buyers.
Got it. Thank you.
Just leading into, can you just further dive in a little bit to your go-to-market? So like, who are you going to take down first? How are you going to create the first application? And then where does it go from there? Because I'm just trying to understand, how fast it accelerates and how that ecosystem looks for the full rollout.
That's a dream question you asked, Sydney. Thank you. We have not yet, to be honest to you, not thought about the full rollout. But what we have thought through is that we definitely want to go with partners. We cannot do this alone. And we know that the government of most of these low medium income countries are already working with partners. They already have cameras installed, but they don't have a means to get the data out and make it something that they can monetize. And we provide that. That's how we want to go in. We want to go in with camera people. We want to go in with a donor organization that wants to collect data on accidents in different roads in Nigeria. And once we get there and once we have the data, then the opportunities are endless of how you want to monetize that data.
Do you have a country that you're focusing on first that you've started to have those conversations with?
Yes, we are starting with India. It just happens I'm born Indian with an American passport, so it's just easy on that side.
And are there any tests set up yet there?
We are speaking with another country in East Africa. I just do not want to mention it yet, but because it's too early days. But our first target is definitely India. India is big enough. If we are able to do at least 5 cities in India, then I think we are on the map.
Anupam, I wonder if I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
Thank you, Joseph. You did it right.
Okay, very good. Nice to see you. Congratulations on your company. I was curious, could you maybe talk a little bit about your ideal customer? And I'd like to know maybe more specifically, when you think about government versus private commercial sector, which ones are you're tending to target more?
We are having a conversation. I'll give you 2 examples, and that will probably help you understand this, right? So we are having a conversation with an airport in India right now who is trying to understand city-side traffic. They want to monitor that traffic to sell that data to the stores inside the airport to tell them the traffic that's incoming, right? And we have found that conversation to be very easy because the airport is private, or semi-public, let's say. It has, so the conversation gets much more faster, much more easier to convince them of the data play. But it gets harder to convince the government of the data play. For government, it's a public good thing, and so they do not understand how that data play comes into thing, right? But it's like any other data that's public, like weather data is public, but you can use weather data for insurance. So it's just a conversation that takes a little bit of longer time with the government than with a semi-public or a private organization, right? So our preference is definitely to go with the government because the volume is big. But it takes a longer time though to get there.
Okay. And then if I was to ask you, and this is probably a question that's maybe early for you, but I'm just curious, if you had your dream, when would you ideally like to be in a position of monetization where you're actually, someone is actually using your products, indoor services, and you're actually making money? When would you like to be? Do you actually sort of have a pro forma or sort of a target by which you like to be in revenue stage?
So our goal is that 2022 Q2, we should be in revenue. We should be making some money. And by 2023 Q2 or Q3, we would be like having 2 or 3 customers like that. So we'll be much more closer. Probably by 2023, and we'll be at a break-even standpoint. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Best.
Thank you.
Anupam, can I ask? I'll ask a question. It's going to be 2 parts. I would like to know, what do you think is the largest? What problem in your rollout keeps you up at night? And how do you think you're going to get past it? And then what is that problem that I or this panel or people normally volley at you, but you think is a very simple problem you've already solved for?
Okay. I think the second part of the question is easier because most of the time when we have conversations with our customers, they're always asking about the accuracy of the algorithms, or how did we train the algorithms, or who owns the algorithms, and questions like this. To me, algorithms are almost solved problems in most of in the area where we are trying to go for, let's say like car identification or vehicle identification or ambulance identification or things like that. Okay. Right? The hard thing is, can you do it in real time in a sustainable way without breaking the bank, and then sell that data to someone to make sure that whatever you're burning, you're getting back a part of it. Right? That business model is the hardest conversation. I think not the algorithm itself, right? So that part is the easy.
Just for time, let me flip you to that harder part of the question I had. What's that big hairy question that keeps you up at night?
That the audacious, big hairy audacious goal is that business model. How do you make sure that you actually can create a business model that people would like to buy into? Because most of these municipalities, or let's say you go to Nigeria or Uganda or Kenya, they would not buy it without a donor investment at the back of it. The reason they do not buy it without a donor investment at the back of it, because they do not know what they will do with that. The donor will say, okay, we'll reduce accidents, so then they will buy and install it. But if you can show that the donor needs to pay 60% and you can actually generate revenue from that other 40%, then it suddenly becomes attractive for them. That conversation is a hard conversation to have.
Okay, hey, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so if there's any more questions, so we can close this session. So thanks again, Anupam, for your great presentation. Also, thanks a lot to our judges for also another great questions here. So, okay, so let's move to the second team.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Anupam, again. Okay, the next team is Orsinius International. So we have a Brian here. So Brian, are you ready?
All right, sure am. One second.
Yeah. So Orsinius International has created the first fully transparent blockchain-powered political campaign for local, state, and federal candidates. So we are also very curious about your solutions, and please go ahead. The stage is yours.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'd say maybe a little more summary is the future of human governance. Okay, great. So let me just put the timer on here. Let's see. Okay, so. Okay. All right, so here we go. Ready. 3, 2, 1. Okay, great. So, hello, my name is Brian, and I am launching the future of human governance with Orsinius International. So a bit of background on myself. What have I done? I'm an angel investor and technologist based on the East and West Coast. I've successfully ran several tech companies, and my clients have revenues in excess of 100 million. Most recently, I've worked on emerging technology legislative initiatives across the blockchain and cryptocurrency space and data privacy integrity. So what is the problem with governance in 2021? It's not transparent and it's not accountable. What is the solution? Transparency and accountability. So we're launching the first fully transparent blockchain-powered human governance officials, formerly known as political candidates. How the candidate votes, where the candidate spends money, and how the candidate spends time is entirely transparent and community-driven. So I'll go through a couple of specific examples here. Okay, so let's say that you're donating to your favorite candidate, and basically, it's a very simple, straightforward thing. When you donate, you're just going to select from a basic dropdown what issue that you care about, right? And that can be by major categories. It cannot be, come and fix my driveway and so forth. That is not, a legal thing to do. But you can just say, hey, you know what? I care about education, police reform, right? And then, so the candidate is then going to have to spend their time pro rata based on their donations, okay? So I'll just kind of give a very simple example here of our beta candidate that we had, Greg Fisher. Greg Fisher now.com/donate. So this is, whoops, let's see. .com/donate. Okay, so this is basically, this is by broad brush, right? So you go in and you donate, right? So this is the major things that, I can choose police reform, economic reform, and then, like I said, the candidate will have to spend their time in that way. Okay, great. So now the next example is, let's say that there's a vote coming up, right? So you can basically through the candidate site or a widget on their site or a central dashboard, you can inform the candidate of how you'd like them to actually participate in governance, right? So there's a bill coming up. I want the candidate to vote yes, vote no. Okay, straightforward. You also see something up there called engagement token balance. Okay, all this, of course, under FriendDA. Okay, great. So I've been told this is something called direct democracy. I don't really know that. I'm a technologist and I invent whatever I want. So on this screen here, it's basically show the breakdown, right, of end to end. Here's the legislation that was desired and how many people wanted that legislation and how many people did it. Okay, so who are our use cases, right? Well, we've pitched many high-end presidential candidates, including Andrew Yang, Tom Steyer, Elizabeth Warren, all these type of people, and our beta candidate at this time is Greg Fisher, running in Suffolk County. So we'll have a whole cryptocurrency and donation engine on that. And then you can kind of see just the language from the candidate perspective. If you guys want to just read that for a second. Okay, so each candidate site will be individualized, of course. Okay. All right, so back to the deck here. Okay, so so let's see. So we got, okay, what's our revenues, of course? So we're going to charge a 5% market share, or excuse me, capturing 5% market share, just 50 congressional candidates would be $1 million of donations, which will charge a processing fee and the flat setup fee as well, right? So pretty straightforward. Our ask is $400,000 for 20%. And that will be equity. I'm going to run this basically almost like a nonprofit. Okay, so I don't really care about the money in this. I care about, you know, changing the world, which is the whole point of what this is. We have an incredible team. We have myself, tech and visionary expert, I think accurately describes me. We have marketing. Lou Kerner runs the largest crypto and blockchain enthusiast group. Excuse me. We have backend resources. Sierra is heading up our chief strategy. Daniela Kandra ran for Attorney General of New York and is also helping us get into New York candidates. And that's myself. So there you go. Any questions?
Okay, thanks a lot, Brian, for your presentations. Okay, let's move to the Q&A with the 10 minutes. Okay, Aaron, you turn on your camera first as you can start, and then Sarah.
I went first last time. Sarah, you go. I'll follow you.
Okay, yeah, I would say, you know, so as I kind of similar to almost like the last time, like what's the differentiator? I guess so this, you know, does not exist at all in market. I'm just curious to know what is
well,
really
you know what? I mean, I'll tell you how I came up with this, right? So when I was working on legislation, and so I was, you know, living in California, I was, you know, basically half-time in Cali and half-time in the East Coast, and I'd go down to DC and I meet with these Congress people and so forth, which have great relationships, and it was, you know, really respect everyone there, and, you know, kind of got an inside view of, you know, when I was informing these people of views about what the technology people wanted, and then bring it to the Congress people, right? So then I'd go in and meet with them, and maybe they'd take a handwritten note or hand me a card, or there wasn't any CRM system or any type of documentation at all about our governance process. And the minute that I saw that, I said, I kind of expected, well, I'm going to walk into Congress. I mean, this is like, you know, 2019 or whatever. We're like the richest country in the world, and I mean, you're just handing me a handwritten note. And so then once I knew this wasn't built, then I just immediately started building it. So, you know, so I mean, I don't. The thing is, first of all, I'm running this pretty specifically. All politics is an outside issue. Okay, the political software offerings that do exist apparently just do not desire any transparency or accountability. They name themselves things called like Shadow or whatever. And if anybody from that Shadow app wants to hit me up, sure, man. Like I don't get the point. So obviously our governance is at an entirely dysfunctional place. There's been plenty of technologists that have tried to do this, right? So you can come from the side of the technologists, or you can come from the side of governance, okay? The technologists have these, you know, utopian things that no one who's 70 years old will ever use in their life, Okay, so I'm coming from this side, and I have confidence from the governance side, and I have candidates just signing up. This is something that I'm doing as a passion project and so forth. So but it is a viable business model, and I can be revenue positive just from taking percentage of donation. And I have a second candidate I'm onboarding. It's confidential. I can't disclose it now, but that candidate alone would make me revenue positive. So thank you.
So, and I definitely appreciate your passion for it. That clearly shows through. I guess just as a quick follow-up, how else though does this differentiate from just a website itself? If someone wants to go search a candidate, but
the thing is because the candidate is going to commit that they're going to use this system to actually do something, right? So they will use it, and they will implement their governance tasks, and they will crowdsource their governance, and then it will be documented of what they do, and they'll have to participate in the system. So they can, so depending on the candidate, they may want to crowdsource certain tasks, right? They will retain executive privilege the whole time. Okay, so it's not something where, hey, let's take a simple example, right? So let's say that New York, okay, we want to now close the restaurants at 4 o'clock, okay, every day, right? And then we take a poll of New York, and probably people would say that, well, we don't want the restaurants closed at 4 o'clock, right? And then that's and that would go through the system, and then whoever participates. And then the mayor of New York could still close the restaurants at 4 o'clock. But he'll have seen that there's 1 million people who said we don't want the restaurants closed at 4 o'clock. So
is it fair to say, just as a follow-on to Sarah's question, then the training for the system or the intelligence, it actually needs all of the candidates to start using it, because that's going to become the training for the future versus a data set that's actually training now. So each candidate
is going to have their own data set, right? But yes, the candidate comes forward and says, yes, I'm going to use and it's going to be an open source system too, right? So I'm naming it Orca is like the working title. So they're going to commit and say, I'm going to use the Orca operating system, right? I'm operating my position under that, right? So, and that will have, they will have to do that. So, but it's going to be open source, because think about, Linux is to Red Hat as Orca is to Orsonus, right? And Red Hat's a $3.4 billion company, but I'm going to open source it so that I can't be, if anyone has any question about the algorithms and so forth, for example, if, making an angry face on a post worth 5 times love, right? Which it should be, love should be worth more than anger, maybe, then it's all good, it's all fully transparent.
What's the biggest barrier to entry when you ask someone, or when you pitch for someone to get on the platform today?
I don't have barrier to entry. I just don't have operational capital, and I just, I'm busy with client work. So the second I get operational capital, I will have no barriers.
Hey, Brian, I'm going to ask a kind of a different question, and I really like the questions that Sarah and Cindy have shared. I noticed at the end of your deck, you had a VR expert as one of your advisors or whatever have you.
Right.
I thought it was interesting. I'd like to know why. I've done a lot of reading and have seen some things from Max Tegmark, Sean Carroll on this stuff.
Yeah.
Whole idea of augmented democracy. And I wonder if you are actually taking a first step towards that. And then if so, how is AI more than just data aggregation really driving that? So first start with VR.
Yeah, so sure. Okay, yeah, so let me just kind of show you something. This is another client of mine. Very amazing technology. So during the zombie apocalypse, we had to kind of readjust a little bit in terms of the events and so forth. And what we actually, so the whole blockchain space has a concept of NFTs, right? Okay, so what we were going to actually do is, so in terms of a candidate presenting, right? This is like one of my clients is a browser-based metaverse, right? So so imagine that we, in whatever capacity, right, we could have a virtualized, VR congressional environment or government environment, something like this, and then people could come in the system and they could interact like in that environment. They can interact on Zoom. So this was kind of another. This was a person who wanted to basically do this kind of virtual environment, and then have the candidates come in the virtual environment, and then that the crypto and blockchain space would really enjoy that. So that's in process as well. But this is kind of an example. This is a whole, this, you can build all custom worlds and everything like that. So. Okay.
Okay, well, we have kind of 2 minutes, and then Joseph, do you have any more question?
Nope, I'm good.
All right.
All the best, Brian.
Okay. Great, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, Brian, thanks a lot for your presentation. Also, thanks again to our judges for the great Q&A sessions. And then thanks again. So let's quickly move to the third team here. Okay, so third stage is for Sama. So yeah, Sriram. Yeah, okay. Are you ready?
Thank you, Josh. Hopefully you can hear me.
Yes,
all
sure.
right.
Okay, so you've got 5 minutes. Okay, right. So please go on.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. I'm Sriram Natarajan from Sama. For ease of pronunciation, you can call me Ram. Thanks to the AI for Good community for selecting us. It is great to be part of this eminent group of companies and people that are bending the technology arc towards long-term social good. So really privileged to be here. As a species, we've been imbuing all of these human capabilities to our creation. So that's what artificial intelligence is all about. We want to create systems that are mimicking our capabilities. So over the decades, we've made systems to calculate for us, navigate for us, and automate many of our tasks. Some capabilities are very, very mature and widely available. In some areas, we are seeing the first signs of mass deployment. In our view, computer vision is one such aspect that's gaining widespread adoption. So for example, we just saw real life a little while ago because they've taken the traffic capability and completely built the models that's a solved problem. That's what Anupam was saying. So it's getting to be widely adopted. Now, imagine if all of our systems, all of our companies and government systems could see and understand the quality and quantity of decisions to be made would increase manifold. There is a unanimous agreement on how much this would be. There's also a lot of investment and expectations around this field. So not just AI, but more of computer vision as well. Now, despite the promise of all of these AI initiatives, 90% of them fail. The main impediment is the lack of high quality data, labeled data for training the models. There are other causes of failures. In some cases, there's just lack of data, some inherent bias, some bias that percolates through bad models. In some cases, there's lack of explainability, lack of transferability. All of these causes delays, bad quality output, opaque and unfair systems. All of these have to be solved in a standardized way to achieve AI's full promise. It's a litany of things that we need to do as a community and as a species. We'll have to do it, and we will get to it. And Sama is going to address many of those. But we began by attacking the biggest constraint to success in AI companies: the paucity, the scarcity of accurately labeled training data. So the way we look at it is, even if we take that sliver of a problem, just that one particular segment alone, it's a huge opportunity and potential for us to make a mark. It's a 10 billion TAM by 2025. So to that end, we have spent 13 years on a mission to provide high quality data from start to scale. Along the way, we've built the industry-leading platform for data labeling and annotation. Embedded in our platform is our cutting-edge ML-assisted annotation tools. So think about that for a second. While we're assisting companies to build better models, we are including machine learning as part of the process to improve the way we are able to annotate and provide better quality data. In some cases, we are moving towards synthetic data generation. For example, we talked about license plates masking. So that's one part of it. Or we could generate those license plates so we could reduce the bias in the systems and be able to get our models to be better. So we are using these machine learning models, micro models that we have to clean the data to build better models. And we can definitely utilize this across the life cycle in the machine learning life cycle that our customers have. We have a global workforce that utilizes our platform and the tools to provide the highest fidelity annotated data. And we do this for the leading technology companies to deliver their most mission critical AI. And we are a certified B corporation. So this is something that we, while our platform is top of the line, it is something that we have pride ourselves on being a corp that does for the most good for most people. Sama has a easy to use, accuracy driven training data platform. It scales with the client needs. We work with most data types and use cases in computer vision. Think of camera and LiDAR based sensing for autonomous driving, for safety, or for even for insurance purposes, it's potentially possible. We've done work in 2D and 3D tagging for retail and e-commerce, for specifically for some cases for disabled people to be able to describe what it is. Our models have been used. We've also done image and video annotation for consumer media in the virtual world. So things like while we may be able to photograph everything, every street in the world, every car type and machine type in the world, but now we are getting into the virtual world where everything can, the imagination is just limitless, and we need to be able to tag that properly for the participants in the virtual world to have the richest experience. So across all of these,
you have 30 seconds.
Okay.
You've got 30 seconds.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
It feels like I just started talking. Anyway, so I would like to say that we have most of our customers are you saw the logo slide. Most of our high-tech companies are using us. What we are most proud about is that we've been able to raise about 55,000 people out of poverty in the last few years. This was done as a result of a longitudinal study. So our impact workforce that does the annotations is based on in the most impoverished nations possible. And we've been able to get the people to participate in the latest and greatest of technology curve from where there are opportunity deserts. So we have built that bridge between opportunities and need, and we love to be able to do that. And the ask of this, and of course, we have a fantastic team that does this. Let me spell that out. Sorry, we have a fantastic team that does that. And the ask of this team is to challenge us to build ethical AI going forward. Thank you, and I should have managed my time better, so I'm ready for questions.
And thanks a lot for your excellent presentation. Okay, perhaps Sydney, you can start.
I'd be happy to. So I love this idea that you are focused on, the data labeling problem. It's a huge problem, and the biases in it. My question for you is, what's your bowling pin strategy? Where do you go first? Are you really focused in the traffic sector or someone else in order to create that training? And then where, I'm just interested in those key elements that make the reasons why you would go after one industry first over another.
Yeah, so we are focused on autonomous driving, and robotics and manufacturing are very key use cases because the risk and the reward is very high in terms of if we can get the traffic models right for our autonomous driving clients, it saves so much in terms of cost, and it gives us greater safety numbers. For manufacturing, a better quality, similarly in medtech, where if we can provide the annotations for specific diagnosis, right, that enables the models to be built better, that can assist the doctors when they are making those diagnostic decisions. So those are, I would say, the top three, maybe the 1, 2, 3 pins are navigation, transportation, logistics, and medtech, and insurance.
Are the companies letting you aggregate data together? Are you training on subsets of each individual company?
We have, that's a fantastic question. So we have the ability to take the learnings from each of the companies that we do. So for example, we did pedestrian annotations for for companies that are doing this, and we were able to take that particular model and apply it to retail when they were trying to assess the people coming in and going. So we had the models already built in from the pedestrian data set to apply to a different use case. So the transferability is there.
Okay, I have one last question. What are you doing that you think uniquely makes you not have the biases that are traditionally inside of AI data?
We have a diverse global workforce, so that's one part of it. The second is that our platform is able to identify clumps of data that seem to be artificial in terms of data collection bias rather than what is actually reflected in reality. So we're able to point to it. We have some false negatives, of course, so we point to certain things which are clumps, but that happens to be reality. But we are able to open the door to say there may be some bias in the data collection, and we are able to, we are slowly moving to data prep and enrichment as well, which enables us to perform better.
Okay, well, Joseph, perhaps you'd better ask a question now as you have a limited time.
Yeah, great presentation. I loved it. So it appears you are in revenue, correct?
Yes, we are.
Okay, very good. In terms of your technology, so your technology, given the fact that you have customers, your technology is in the marketplace. People are using your technology today, correct?
Absolutely, yes. That's right, yes.
Okay, very good. Talk to me just real quickly about your typical or maybe even ideal customer. So I'm someone who is, I've got core technology products and I'm using AI. Tell me how I can take advantage of your services.
Yeah, our ideal customer profile is somebody that's either has a huge amount of data gravity. So certain companies that have been in business for 100 years, that is an insurance company that has a ton of visual data that they don't know what to do with. Or that's one type of customer that we have. And also customers that our major aim is to go towards somebody that already knows what they want to do with their data and have built some hypothesis and want us to come and help them test it out. It could be from, hey, I have a hypothesis, or I have a model that's not working well. Can you come help us? So typically we see companies that have a machine learning team that's built in, and they have a particular size of a few $1 million in revenue is what we go after. Otherwise, it's too early in the day for them to be for them to be consuming our services. Okay,
but they're typically using your services specifically more of an out-service kind of model because they are lacking SME or subject matter expertise, knowledge, and their capabilities to do what they're trying to do. Correct?
Exactly. And there are some cases where we just provide the platform and the customers run with the data quality and labeling themselves. But in most of the cases, yeah, we provide the expertise.
Great. Thanks so much.
Sure.
Well, if there's a little bit more time, the question I wanted to throw out there is at the very end, you use the term ethical AI. And so it's not lost on me about how data has applications in there, but you hadn't touched on that until the very end. So would you please tell me how your company drives ethical AI?
Yes. So one is we are bringing in the workforce that has not been participating in more the information superhighway. They kind of missed out the internet age. So we're bringing in people that were left behind. That's one application of it. Secondly, it's the reduction in terms of biases and prejudices in the data that we have. We're also building some standardization in terms of how the data is being consumed. So if you have, and we are audited by the B Corp every year to make sure that we are providing everybody with a living wage and providing the training and the specific needs that they have for doing this. So the ethical AI's three legs are the data that comes in, the people that are involved in the platform, how it's built, is it sustainably built, and built with a diverse team. Our team is also focused on the same ways.
I'd encourage you to be careful with the term ethical AI. I think you're talking about ethical applications or altruistic applications of AI versus AI actually being ethical. So there's some nuance there. And that's what actually piqued my interest is how was your AI going to have ethical programming? So there's a little bit of a nuance difference there, but that's fine. I was just going to give you a compliment. I liked how you led up front with the total addressable market, letting us know it's about 10 billion up front was a good way to start with the bottom line. So thank you. Good job.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, Sarah, do you have any question?
No, not at this time. I'm okay. Thank you, though. I really appreciate your presentation.
Thanks, Sarah.
Okay, thanks a lot, Sriram, for your presentation. Also, again, this is really exciting to see really, dynamics of, Q&A sessions here. So, okay, let's move to the fourth team, Without AI. Okay, Without AI, we have Adam here, right? Yeah, okay. Are you ready, Adam?
Yeah, let me share my screen. Josh, can you see my screen?
Here we go. Yes. All right. So Without AI is utilizing cutting edge AI tools to help pen test and debug and improve other companies' machine learning efforts, as far as I understand, right? So we are excited to hear more about it. Please go on.
Perfect. Josh, thank you for the warm introduction. My name is Adam. I'm here to pitch Wizard AI. Let's get started. So Wizard AI started with an observation. Companies today need to address AI risk. This observation is backed by a few relevant trends in the market. One, 2020 made clear the threat of reputational risk from misusing AI, whether it be from Zuckerberg's algorithms, machine learning headlines. Only 25% of consumers trust AI decisions humans. It's not reputational risk, financial. And a 5-day, I'm sure you all heard this, Bill lost $6 billion market cap and had to lay off a quarter of its workforce because of poor assumptions in its ML models. If these blue chip tech companies aren't safe from these issues, then few are. And all these risks have accelerated incoming regulation. GDPR already requires a right to explainability in ML decisions, and similar regulations will soon reach most customer-facing ML applications and industries. 31 countries introduced new AI regulations in 2020 alone. And I saw the consequences of AI risk in my own work as a machine learning engineer when COVID blew up every model that my company had in production. And the same thing happened to pretty much every model at every company. It made clear to me that current ML models were built and needed to evolve to be better to adapt to changing. This is when I started to dig deep into this idea of AI, the development of fair, robust, and ML models need to address the rising risk of AI problems. But no one in was talking about this. And made me think, why, if AI risk is such a present day, are so few companies addressing it? And after some interviews and research, I found the answer. It's because they can't. There are 3 core reasons companies today cannot address AI risk. They don't have the internal expertise to address it in the first place. 2 is they can't get the significant internal resources for this large-wide initiative. 3, companies just cannot self-audit their models. It's just nearly impossible to do your own first bias. Wizard AI enters. We quick and masterfully empower companies to launch reliable AI with confidence by providing an org-wide battle-tested toolkit for AI robustness, explainability, and auditing. We address these 3 core reasons to not do reliable AI themselves. We are strong domain experts. We make missions org extremely easy, and as a third party, we actively audit data and these mitigate AI risks and create trust, peace of mind leaders that their ML initiatives are robust, fair, and highly efficient. Clicking down on the 3 pillars I mentioned, well, pen test ML models, a new piece of production software to uncover those data vulnerabilities and risks would be exploited. Second, we utilize our third-party fairness data set and cutting-edge explainability techniques to crack open those black box models and find drivers of models, highlighting these while also providing powerful insights into your customers, your models, and your data. And finally, constantly audit your input to ensure it to these reliable AI principles. Act accordingly the moment they fail. Reliable AI doesn't start until a model is in the wild to customers. Final benefit is fundamental to any company making important decisions for their end users with AI. I included a tech spec here to show that this product is feasible, not just a bunch of slides, and also that the integration fast and no code. My co-founder Mo made his name creating simple and easy B2B integrations, and we can finish all of our complex analyses extremely. This is highly relevant to setting social good initiatives. Innovation Factory's interest primarily reducing inequality. Our customer persona is a CTO or VP engineering at an AI-powered customer technology company. These tech strategists feel the need to utilize cutting-edge ML to beat competition, but also assist using these complex models. Industries feel AI most are fintech tech, specifically digital lending in fintech, personalization, evaluation in tech. We have a large, rapidly growing addressable market in both fintech and edtech, both spaces being hot competition and crucially without big players to bully startups out. MLOps is of course a hot space right now in the VC community, but most are focused on the productionalization of those rather than operations or explainability, and certainly not reliable AI as a service. This is where our product shines in our compared to our in preliminary customer calls. We hope to go after mid-sized fintech companies as our beachhead market segment, mostly because they are already heavily invested in AI, feel this direct pain of AI risk. Our team is built to solve this problem. Mo and myself have years of experience working directly on ML systems, delivering value, and have felt this pain as a user ourselves. We both joined Retina AI as first-time employees. I was number 2 before Mo, don't let him forget it. And we went through several rounds of funding together as the company and our roles grew. Excited to do that together again at Wizard AI. We're asking for a seed round of $750 to accelerate our engine sales team growth so we can land multiple significant SaaS contracts in 2022. And particularly of Innovation Factory, we'd love to be introduced to people who share our visions for social good and would be interested in an advisory or internal position role. Thank you so much again for letting me pitch, and I'm happy to answer any and all questions you have.
Thanks, Adam, for your excellent presentation. Okay, let's move to the Q&A. Okay, yeah, Sarah, you turn on the camera first, so you can start.
Great. Well, thanks so much, Adam. Really appreciate it. So some of my background, especially at AWS, is edtechs. And so can you go just speak a little bit more about how this applies then to that really vertical?
Yeah. Happy, I could go all day about this. One immediate use case that we've been chatting with companies about is edtech companies trying to scale evaluation, like reading an essay, grading the essay, giving constructive feedback on that. And it's a huge value to be able to do that in a very mission-driven company, but there is an existential angst that there is some implicit bias in how you're grading that essay, because you're layering over not only NLP technology, which is already a black box, but you're also giving direct feedback to specific people. You don't know if gendered, you don't know if there's certain cultural expressions that are going to cause issue, and also just end up learning the right thing that a human grader would want. So there's all of these underlying assumptions that the model should be able, you should understand if your model can or cannot do that. And the traditional system, as I've seen it from building ML systems, is you build an offline testing system, you see what the accuracy is or how close it is to a human grade, and that's it. And you close the book, let's send it into production. So that's like one immediate ed tech use case in the evaluation space. Another one is on the personalization. You want to ensure that you're not that you're personalizing experience for everybody in a constructive way, which we've been talking with some recommendation systems for like different courses. They're concerned that their courses they're recommending may be along certain stereotype lines that they don't want to do because their underlying data may be falling in that way. So they want to make sure each customer gets the best experience they possibly can.
Got it. And then just real quick as a follow-up. So then in regards to your persona, was that then really kind of ubiquitous and the same across edtechs, fintechs, and in general B2Cs? Or where else are you kind of focusing on your audience in that sense? I mean, is it literally like any and all B2Cs, or are you honing in more beyond just like the fintech and edtech verticals?
Well, clearly Wizard AI is going to eat the world, so everyone will want Wizard AI. But specifically, we're focusing on fintech and edtech because from our preliminary customer calls, those CTOs and VP of Engs, they're mostly at mission-driven companies. They want to be helping their end users with something. EdTech particularly is very mission-driven, but fintech wants to reinvent people's relationship there. And so they have this strong mission that they want to achieve. They want to use this cutting-edge technology, but as the technical lead, they assume the risk of using these high-tech technologies in the black box spaces. So they want to be really confident that they can move towards a BERT model for, NLP production, or, a very sophisticated deep learning system for a fintech that they can, that's what the main pain point really is, that confidence, that peace of mind that they want, they are lacking. And so they're really shifting in their seats when they hear that they need to be using these techs. So those two industries particularly feel this pain point. But of course, like you mentioned, most people using this ML technology could use it, but we want to keep ourselves focused before we move to everybody.
Great, thank you very much.
Yeah.
You know, ML ops, it's so hot right now, right?
Yeah.
So than data or anything else. And so I commend you for really picking a very sweet spot. I like how you talked about, reliable AI in terms of ethical and explainability, and you started breaking down the features. It wasn't quite clear to me. So if I missed it, if you could please give me a 20-second, 30-second recap. Like, what are you doing as a service? Are you deploying? Are you building the models that are ethical and reliable, or are you monitoring the models to ensure they're reliable? And what kind of services would I expect if I was a customer?
Yeah, that's a great question, Aaron. And it's definitely an artifact of me condensing my whole pitch to 5 minutes. So really, like in a sentence, we're offering, we're B2B SaaS, and what we're offering is a capacity for you to test the models that you're building. So we don't handle any modeling ourselves. We handle the monitoring when they're in production, and we also offer intermediate. That's what we think like really differentiates us, is that there is no weighing of models. They zero to from off system to production, and that's like a big red flag in any engineering process. So that's where we're offering this intermediate QAing for robustness and explainability, a green light, the immediate stakeholders monitoring to make sure those things are held stable.
QA, QC, model lifecycle management. Got it. Okay.
Maybe just another quick question. How far, how many customers do you have today? How far has it kind of rolled out from, what you've developed versus adoption?
Yeah, we're pre-revenue right now, but we're penning our first pilot right now. And obviously, take this as you may, but the few customer calls we have gone exceedingly well, with people wanting like this as quickly as possible. So we haven't landed any yet, but we're penning one this month, and we should be ramping up very quickly.
And could you please emphasize a little bit more for myself and the audience how your technology is going to impact the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals?
Yeah, I'm happy to. Another topic I can talk for a long time. It's how we view it, kind of led Mo and I to have this conversation is, and I touched on it, the brittle nature of is that there is absolutely no consideration in the current ML lifecycle for bias, for transparency. These things are second, and that's from the UN perspective. That technology absolutely needs to be imbued with the understanding of the risks and the consequences of such a powerful technology in such an intimate way. And today we've seen like the amazing capacity that people are going to use ML and AI in the future. And if we don't take into consideration that all the data you're collecting is going to be systemically biased in some ways, that you need to be able to understand what your model is really learning to make sure it's not making nefarious answers, specific kinds of decisions. Those things all capture in in my interpretation of the AI for Good social initiative of we need to make sure we're using this as best we can for the best use cases. So that's kind of the direction we're going, is helping empower these mission-driven companies not to be led astray because of unseen, unknown biases and transparency issues.
Thank you, Adam.
Okay, well, any more questions? We've got a little bit of 4 minutes if you wanted to take advantage of this rest time. No?
Well, we can ask a couple of other questions. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Carlo.
No, after you, Sydney, please.
I was actually just going to ask your pricing and monetization model and how quickly you think that can scale.
Yeah, I'll tease the numbers because we can dive into more numbers on a longer call, but really we're model per month as a SaaS, allowing us to scale with the size and your needs. It's really like a pricing model that we're looking at. There also is like an interesting additional revenue that's come from this last week, so this is very preliminary, but people wanting us to do like a full audit of their end-to-end system, and that being a way that we can keep the life cycle like maintained. Pricing model. And then what was the second portion of your, how to scale?
Yeah, but it comes from the business model. I think I get it.
Okay.
For how you're trying to go after that. Do you have any sense for how much you're charging for what type of, like, ignoring your consulting services, which might be part of the onboarding? How does that pricing model look?
Yeah, so doing very hand-wavy answers for these things. Our typical customer has about like 3 to 8 models in production, like ML models for different use cases in there. We've been thinking about doing about $50 to $100 per model per month, about that number, allowing you to run those checks on those QA. So we're expecting like a typical size to be between 3K or more, but obviously if you land Macy's, that's going to be a very different number, and that would change things. But really with the mid-tech, that's about what we've heard and seen. And what production.
Thank you.
On your alternative slide, you put up a pretty big, a formidable opponent in Data Robot. So
yeah,
can you tell me really your strategies for going toe to toe with folks that have got 10 years lead on you?
Of course. I mean, I'm going to beat Data Robot, whatever works. No, but Data Robot actually is a funny one to bring up. Mo and I were just chatting about them. They focus pretty explicitly on the production of models. Like they want to take your data, run auto ML, and then on the output that's like on there. Where we want to is that kind of QAing and then monitoring section. And certainly, like the real answer there is, I think we have a technology moat to start with, because we're going after this space. We're gonna take that. Hope to go, and where Wizard AI is moving for our vision is that we develop and that represents reliable AI development. That you use AI, even but you want to have the Wizard AI logo at your tech stack, because you can feel super confident. Wizard AI is a statement for internal stakeholders and to users that you are making the right decisions on the models that are going in action. You understand what you're launching into the world. So really, that's kind of the short-term answer is we're differentiated by space and technology, and in the future we'll be differentiated by brand meaning and where our customers.
I think your QA QC is a good answer.
All right, so thanks a lot for this very dynamic, exciting Q&A with all the judges, and then also them. And thanks a lot again for your presentation, also Q&A with judges. All right, okay, so now is the really last stage, and we have Vibionics here. Vibionics is a startup which provide a solution to quantify well-being and emotional intelligence by using voice analysis AI. So we have Christy here. Okay, well, thank you for your patience waiting for your turn at the end of the session. So please go on. So you have 5 minutes.
Okay, hi, my name is Christy Holt. I'm the founder and CEO of Vibonics. And our mission is to quantify well-being and emotional intelligence using voice analysis AI. So today I'm feeling confident, motivated, and a little bit of fear of failure, to be exact. Maybe you can hear it even in my voice. Having self-awareness will help me manage through it as I present today. We are in the midst of a workplace mental health crisis. It is affecting individual employees and entire companies. Organizations across the globe are searching for solutions to solve the wave of unhappiness, stress, and overwhelm. Recent studies show that 68% of millennials and 81% of Gen Zers have left roles for mental health reasons, both voluntary and involuntary, compared to 50% of respondents overall in 2019. 91% of respondents believe that the company culture should support mental health. So organizations are trying to find relevant and effective solutions while losing quality employees, productivity, engagement, satisfaction, and performance. The current reactive approach to emotional health isn't working. Vibonics solves this head on. We believe what isn't measured cannot be optimized. We know mental health is emotional health. Emotional intelligence is the solution and can be captured through your voice. Voice frequencies are objectively measurable and therefore biologically authentic. To accurately pinpoint your emotion is to take a proactive approach. Beware of yourself, prevent emotional triggers, and manage problems in a healthy way. Our revolutionary algorithm provides quantitative data instantly, observing, predicting, and influencing behavioral change. Helping companies and teams measure emotional intelligence builds stronger, happier, more unified, and productivity by enhancing their ability to strengthen emotional resilience. Here's how it works. Our app records your voice by counting on any device in any language. The algorithm then analyzes multiple physical properties and frequencies present in the voice. Our proprietary AI provides comprehensive, actionable suggestions to create positive behavioral outcomes. Our advanced AI uses conversion data to validate and evolve predictions. So as a user, they can instantly observe well-being state, emotional trends, management recommendations, and record their voice journals and affirmations to verbalize, express, and rephrase emotions. The organization, which is our customer, receives aggregate data in real time of their community to proactively make informed decisions, as well as quantifiable data to support the dollars they spend to impact their community. Our target market is an astounding $128 billion just in workforce wellness. We will approach this market through corporate partnerships, clinical providers such as behavioral health and telehealth, professional networks such as coaches, practitioners, and therapists. We have experienced and tenured marketing team that knows how to utilize the latest digital marketing strategies for company growth, expansion, and saturation to markets across the globe. Our three major marketing sales channels are B2B clients, including nonprofit and government organizations, B2C clients, and application programming interface available for licensing agreements. I have been heavily involved in 10 startup companies and 6 successful exits over the past 20 years. Through all my experience, I learned 2 things: create and execute in purpose, and collaboration with key people. We have Dan Baird, whose global branding and innovation strategy, deep understanding of AI and machine learning and big data, Lindsay Seabrook, organizational leadership, Chris Lang, director of marketing, and Scott Evan, who has a PhD in political science and lead data scientist for product innovation. What we all have in common is we know we can change the emotional and mental landscape of humanity. So whether organization culture is thriving, okay, or struggling, Vibonix provides radical self-awareness and a proactive approach to make the best informed decision for their people's mental and emotional health. That, I think, was under 5 minutes, and I'm ready for any questions.
Thanks, Christy. It was exactly 5 minutes. It's great. Thanks a lot for your presentation. Okay, so let's quickly move to the Q&A. So, Aaron, you would like to start?
Yeah, hey, Christy. I love seeing the applications for AI and healthcare and wellness, and certainly it's exploding on the scene, right? So could you explain for me a little bit more about how you plan to process the audio? Is this going to be a AI-enabled chatbot? Is it going to create some recommendations? And then second part, do you have any kind of concern around the practice of the recommendations that the chatbot, the AI, might hit or miss? And how is that integrated with a human or a therapist in the loop?
Okay, so good questions. I'll start with how we make our recommendations. So first off, we look at current states that we recommend or that we're measuring in our app, and then put common resources or actionable items to help mitigate that current state. So right now, we have specific default responses that they can put in and either accept it or decline it. And if they accept it and do it, then it shows something that they accomplished, and then they can reject it. Then that would go into our algorithm to see what they're accepting or rejecting and what they also like. We could go pretty deep into some of that too.
in addition to the audio and what they, accept or reject, are you picking up on, you and I talking the call, right? You said, I could hear it in your voice and I could see the brow furrow or the cheekbones or what, all that is nuance that comes into computer vision and sometimes applications in psychotherapy. So when you say, you're doing a lot with audio, are you also getting into the computer vision aspects of that? Is it all coming together? So it's more than just what it hears and what the customer clicks, but also perhaps what we see and how we score that.
Yes, what we are depicting is like a picture of the audio, but what we're not depicting today is facial recognition or facial expression.
Be on the roadmap?
What was that?
That be on your roadmap?
Yes, absolutely, because we know that could only add extreme value.
Just like your eyebrows raised right now adds extreme value to the passion with which you're pitching it.
Right. And I will say I'll wait for more questions. I have something I could tell you. Did that answer your question? Okay.
Hey, Christy, can you talk to us a little bit about, have you tested this, where are you at in kind of the product rollout cycle and anything that you've learned as you've worked on the technology and, the results of those?
Yes. So we've been in research, and thank you for the question, Sid. We've been in research and development with this product for over 3 years. We've rolled it out in multiple ways with coaches and practitioners and used it with their own clients and also built feedback loops. What we have learned the most in the last year is building it into our actual algorithm and creating those feedback loops to continue expanding in our data. My favorite company that we've already launched with recently was a high school of 700 students. The whole objective there was to measure the overall well-being of the students. Working along with the students, we found how open they are and how much they desire to actually learn about themselves in a healthy way. And the outcome of that is see how students are managing their emotions and realizing that emotions are normal and they're teaching you something. They're not good or bad, but helping just change that narrative and bias around emotional health. That answer your question, Sid?
Yeah. And how are you rolling out your business model? What's the go-to-market? So you do the schools, obviously that's probably the kids aren't paying. So how do you roll that out, move that forward?
Well, our main strategy is B2B2C. I got some really good advice from a mentor one day. And that B2B strategy, we found it's like the eating healthy. All the education is there to eat healthy, but how many people are really doing it? So we found where most people are accountable to their emotional reaction and response is in the workplace. So we have a small where people could do under 10 users and the business pays for that. And then they get on our platform and can have that aggregate data. So it's as little as $299 a month up to $1,800 a month for a business up to 100 users. And then what we also found is people wanted to have the capabilities of running our algorithm alongside their platform and things that they're already doing. So we built an API for it to be used on anyone else's platform. So they can run the capabilities of measuring the emotional frequencies in the voice and use it to their benefit.
I wanted to ask you about your go-to-market plan with regards to how you plan to address the huge market that you showed us at the beginning, the $120.8 billion. Even if you take a tiny slice of that, it will require quite some organization to cover your growth and to scale up. What's your plan with regards to scaling?
Well, that's a really good question. We've brought on 2 channel partners to help build those relationships so we can really map out the roadmap to be able to take on those large clients. And then also funding. We just recently closed some funding to help build some internal operations to support that type of growth and then make sure that we don't grow faster than we can. But what we have done is just really put a nice roadmap in who we need to have on our team, and then what type of customer and customer growth we can that we can handle. And our go-to-market strategy really has worked well with channel partners, and being able to use influencers who are talking about emotional health and emotional health and mental health in the workplace. So that's also been proven very strong.
That's excellent. Thanks.
Hi there, Christy. I have a quick question, and because it's kind of been, I guess, threaded throughout, but more or less so in regards though to specifically to, really your clients and the persona. I mean, so you had mentioned that obviously, a high school was, piloting, but then you're targeting B2B. So, I mean, where are you initially really going to attack the market? And then, really what is that growth strategy for then really, given that you are a startup in that sense, to really expand to hit a variety, of targets?
Well, that's a good question. I have to say, I kind of see the school, we did it with a private school. So they, to me, would classify as that B2B2C strategy, where we negotiated a 9-month process with them with 700 students, and they categorized as an enterprise model for us. Our direct strategy is to HR and people trying to solve this problem within their culture. That to us has been the lowest hanging fruit, because we believe it's a really strong, big, huge global problem, especially after COVID. So we are direct marketing to organizations that have under 100 users and have built the supporting technology for people to onboard from our platform with very little touch points. It's all technology based. Beyond that would be enterprise solution of over 100 users that we would handle internally and execute as we can do so. We do have some large contacts that, if I was to say, actually scare me a little bit, at that fear of how we would execute that in a country who is trying to solve for happiness and quantify happiness. They're starting happiness centers in 7 countries and want to be able to quantify happiness, and are looking at solutions to do that. And we're a top 3 solution for them. So of course we would have to really map out how we would execute, where our servers would fit, privacy policy to execute on that project. But we're already past our 3rd meeting and looking at SOW. So of course that does scare me, but it makes me also realize that what we're able to do with to be able to quantify emotional intelligence is pretty innovative, and not a lot of people are doing it the way we're doing it.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, thanks a lot. Actually, there is one question from the audience to Christy from Veronica Keki. So her question is, how do you think employees will feel about employers collecting and keeping such intimate data about them? So does this require employee consent?
Yes. This is a fantastic question, and we get asked this all the time. So what we built is in the app where the employee can either share their personalized data or not. And it's up 100% based on the user. Now, the aggregate data can and is a part of the aggregate data, but it is protected through a user ID. So nobody can see the specific information of any employee. So for example, a new meeting or a round talking about emotional health in the workplace might say, hey, our group is very motivated today. What do you think is contributing to our motivation? Or our group has high levels of anger. How can we mitigate this anger as a team? So it really starts to open up conversation about mental health in the workplace to stop putting so much judgment and stigma about being human.
Thank you very much for your answer as well. All right, so thanks again, Christy, for your patience again. And so thanks a lot for your presentation. Great. All right, so now it's time for our judges to make the final decisions. Actually, well, I shared a separate call link through this Zoom chat room to individually to all the judges. So you guys can connect to that link and have a separate discussion. Please make sure that you mute here in Zoom. Otherwise, all other people will listen to your dialogue to understand know everything about your decision. All right. Okay. So in the meantime, I'm going to have several questions and some kind of chat with the finalists today. Right. Yeah. So you guys also can turn off your camera and then go to the separators room. Okay. And then start off. Yes. Yeah. You can turn on your camera from starters. All right. So here, so Aaron is there and Carlo is there, and we are waiting for Cindy and Sarah.
Yeah, Josh, can you send, I just message you, can you send me the link? I don't actually seem to have that in my email.
Okay, so maybe I can send you an email. No worry.
This is Sid. Will you send me the same one? Josh, will you send me the link also?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. So I think all our judges have the call link here. Okay, so I just wanted to have a little bit of chat with the startups and asking some questions here, just maybe one or two. You guys actually have, well, firstly, congratulations to everyone who had a really great presentation today. And then, well, I know what you guys should try to convince all the judges that, okay, so you're doing well and then your business model is concrete. And then, okay, so you're doing, you have a really ambitious vision. But of course, there must be some kind of big challenges that you're facing as a startup, especially in these deep tech areas. A lot of startups are really struggling with several challenges. It could be about some data collection. It could be about some kind of competition with big IT companies and etc. So I just want to hear from your side what are the challenges that you're facing and how are you guys overcoming those challenges. It must be very interesting for us to listen to your ideas and thoughts. So who could start? Maybe Adam?
Happy to go. Josh, we have no problems here at Wizard AI. No, the biggest one that comes to mind, actually, so by the way, since we had so many pitches, Wizard AI does reliable AI with confidence. We help companies take their models, make sure that they're acknowledging the risks that they're taking as they launch a model. The biggest challenge likely for us, especially being a startup, is we're early. I think the idea of using AI for social good and acknowledging that models are going to have implicit bias and implicit issues there is a new concept. And so part of my already sales process, but is the big issue, is education around you need to take these into account, that raw accuracy on an offline test doesn't tell the full picture of what the model is. We have early adopters who already acknowledge they need to be take a more holistic view to modeling. That's where fintech and edtech takes, but let's take even like ad tech is something we've looked at, and they have had no interest in it because that's just not a mindset they have yet, that there are like reputational financial consequences to ignoring those things. So it's a twofold sales if we go outside of those spaces of educating them that you need to consider AI risk and that we're a good solution. And so that's kind of the big challenge that we think will go away as time progresses and people are becoming more aware, but that's definitely something we work on day to day.
Yeah, thanks a lot for your sharing yourself. Christy, yeah, you agree or yeah, there's.
Well,
yeah.
I'll just share. I feel that same pain a little bit in education, especially when you're super innovative. Like we are with voice technology, that is, really having to show people the science behind what we're doing, and in comparison to natural language processing, which can be very, very confusing because people don't typically know how to express their feelings. We're not taught that in any culture that I've found. So that's why natural language processing is not a way for us. But I'm just going to say for any innovative technologists, I think one of the hardest things is money. It's expensive to start a technology company. And, I've built our product 3 times to learn that I did it 2 ways not so great. Hundreds of thousands of dollars later, I'm not necessarily the person building the technology. I'm the visionary behind the technology. I'm just a girl trying to solve a mainstream problem and have to hire the right people to do the work. So I think that when we all look at how expensive it is to build technology, that builds a really big problem.
So what is the question? And is this with the judges now or just kind of free form discussion?
No, actually, so we let the judges to make the final decisions.
Okay.
And in the meantime, we are having a chat about some kind of challenge. What kind of challenges you guys are facing as a startup?
Yeah, if I could speak. I mean,
yes, please.
The thing is that I haven't had much challenges yet because I see, the lay of the land of where things are. The only thing that I've been told from time to time is like, okay, well then, if you're doing a software system that has anything to do with the political system, immediately someone's going to want to put you on the one side or the other side, right? But I'm in the stars because I'm outside the political system. So that's it. I don't know. I need 400K operational and I'm rolling 100%. Somebody tried to do this 3 years ago. They spent 800K. They want to give me the code for 50K. That's it.
Right. Thanks a lot. Well, Christy, just coming back to your question about the money. So do you have any specific funding strategy and plan for now?
Yeah. So I just want to speak here in Utah, which is where I'm from. I had a 2.78% chance to get funding because I'm a woman necessarily. And then because we're super innovative and I'm proud to say that I did it. I got our funding and it was really, really difficult. What I think drives some of the issue is making sure that you have a proof of concept. I think it's all amazing that we have good ideas, but if we don't have customers, no one cares. So I think that is a big deal, and a good strategy to get money is prove what you are saying actually works. If it's still an idea or in concept, I think you're too early to be asking for other people's help. And then I think I'm going to just preach emotional intelligence as a founder. If you don't know how to get along with other people and actually listen to their advice, you're screwed, in my opinion. So you might have a really good idea, but if nobody understands it, I think, and you're not willing to listen to the feedback, I think that also keeps you from getting funding. And then I will say one more thing. I've pivoted probably a half a dozen times to the original idea. And the only way I knew where to go was because I listened to people that were willing to pay for my product. If I didn't listen to their needs, I don't think I would have pivoted, and I don't think I would have got funding.
Yeah, customers are the best funding source. Completely agree. Yeah. And Christy, I think the climate for women founders is getting better. It's not ideal, but it's getting better. I can tell that because Sama was founded by women and is run by the founder CEO as well. So we just closed our second round of funding. So I expect great things from you.
Yeah, I have a client who has dealt quite a bit with female-focused funds, and happy to, regardless of the winner, happy to chat offline and help you out. So we'll see. All good.
That would be great, and I appreciate you all are so helpful with female funders, because I think it's women in tech isn't really common either. So I think women in tech getting funding, I mean, we're just like stacking it. So
now, last year there were several funds that just really started focusing on female funding, minority funding, and they really made an effort and an impact. So like I said, I have a whole database and list of those, and happy to chat offline.
Okay, great. Yeah, well, yeah, this is great to hear all different stories from you guys, and then also I learned a lot from you guys, and then also good luck to you guys all, and to get really really good supporter to really understand, your vision, also really willing to, invest in your ideas, and also to help you guys in the scale up so that you can really see, your innovative ideas actually came true. I think that all our judges actually made final decisions, but probably they're a little bit lost in coming back to this panelist room. So Miguel, if you are still there, and maybe you can invite the cuddler to come here and to announce who is the winner.
Do you want us to stay on our video?
It's up to you, actually. Yeah.
I'd like to see all your faces.
Sure,
as they
definitely.
Drum roll, please.
Obviously,
right.
obviously. Yeah, I mean, well, this kind of pitching event, of course, was in even 2 years before. So really supposed to be a kind of offline event to see the really dynamics and have a face-to-face networking, the gather of ideas. Yeah, but perhaps, maybe next year we could have a more or less, offline event as well, in addition to this online pitching event. Okay. I don't know actually what happened to our judges. Basically, they finished their decision in a separate calling. Yeah. So I saw it. Yeah, and we're waiting for. Actually, I didn't mean that. They just really went out of the Zoom links. I just wanted to stay, just mute and turn off camera, but they completely, disappeared to have a very secret conversation. I think.
Where are you based, by the way, Josh? Where are you based?
That's a good question. Actually, well, I'm working for the ITU, which is basically headquartered in Geneva, but I'm currently based in Seoul, South Korea.
Oh, okay, great.
Actually, now is 3:40 a.m.
Oh, it's like 4 in the morning.
That's fantastic, man.
Yeah, so I was awake from 2 a.m.
Yeah.
So I had a little bit of a nap from 9 p.m. to have a short sleep and get back. So yeah,
Korea is great, man. Great blockchain community there, and awesome.
Yeah, right. So mostly, the session takes place around 4 p.m. in European time, which is more or less manageable in my time, but especially in the US time, it's kind of challenging. But I mean, it's okay.
Yeah, all good. Just about 1 o'clock here on the East Coast, huh? Or actually, about 2. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I don't know actually what's happening to our judges, and
they're joining back in 1 minute.
Right. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Let me tell you. I mean, I just also have seen there's a scoring board that our judges made, and then amazing because each of you guys have at least one supporter from judge, which means that it's very, very hard for them to make a consensus who is the really right winner. So it means that you guys are all great today, right? Yeah.
So it's a tie, Josh, is what you're saying. All 5 of us. All
5 of us won, and we're all getting
fun. Go through the finals. Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
What an ideal situation.
That's quite an ideal. Everyone has my LinkedIn. Anyway. Okay, great.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So let me see where our judges go.
Is the first presenter on right now, or did he disappear?
Okay. Right. I think. Yeah. So they're still having a hard discussion. Well, actually, normally in the previous sessions, they just normally spend just 5 minutes and quickly, but this time it's a really super big debate.
It is very difficult.
Yeah, because you guys were great. You guys are great. Yeah. Right. By the way, Miguel, how many applications did we? Can you put it there? How many applications we received, or you wanted to skip it?
Well, we received 12 applicants from here, and then our task force selected the top 5 for this final session. Yes.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. So, so normally we have 20 applications, or sometimes even nearly 50. Actually, we had a session last time and I focused on African startups. It was amazing. We have nearly received more than 50 applications from the 19 different African countries. This is also exciting to see all different types of innovations in Africa. And also, yeah, in some area like Southeast Asia, and so we've got a lot of applications. And so also here in the Silicon Valley session, I think the 20 applications quite a lot as well. Yeah, so in total this year, as I mentioned at the earlier, in the sessions, we have nearly 150 applications in total. So the winner at the grand finale will be the winner among the competition with the ratio of 1 to 150. And then so it was great to see all different types of AI startups here, like public health, education and poverty, financial inclusion, and also just like Brian's kind of combination of the blockchain and AI, and also emotional, management and everything. All right. Okay.
Do you want to share what are the awards for the final event, Josh?
Yes, please.
No, do you want to share those for the final? Do you want to share the awards for the final session in Geneva?
Sorry?
Do you want to share what are the final awards for the final event?
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. Right, sure. Yeah, I'll just have a just quick intro to the prize, and then all the details will be announced perhaps the later this week. Yeah. Okay, well, we have Cindy here, so we're waiting for some other judges. Okay. Good to see you guys again. I would assume that you guys have a really heavy debate, because I saw the scoring board, and then each startup has one supporter from you guys. So it means that you guys definitely must have done and really have a debate on the winner, and it's pretty much challenging to reach a consensus. So. Okay, so Carlo, we are waiting for you to announce the winner today, and then give a little bit of feedback from all the judges on behalf of the judge panel.
Thank you. It was indeed a really tough conclave there behind the scenes. It was very exciting. I think each and every one of the contestants did a tremendous job, and it was very, very hard for us to come to a conclusion. All said and done, I'm very pleased to announce that the winner of the US round is Wizard AI. So congratulations to Adam.
Wow, thank you so much. I was not expecting that. Thank you so much. I'm very excited to see where this goes.
You did very well, but I have to say the other contestants did extremely well. It was a very tight contest. It was very, very hard to choose. We would have and could have deliberated for hours on end, but at the end of the day, we went with the scorecard results that put Adam in the first place. So congratulations, Adam. Back over to you, Josh.
Thanks a lot to our judges for this decision, which must be very, very hard for you guys to reach an agreement and consensus. And also congratulations to Adams, and also, but already congratulations to all the finalists today. Well, Adam, definitely you will be invited to our grand finale process. And then if you pass the pre-screening for the grand grand finale, and then you will get a lot of other benefits, including some of the other marketing solution, which is the $24,000 US value, which will be provided by today's co-host, Tortora Institute and Gorilla Corporation, and also some kind of due diligence procedure provided by one of our VC. And then if you pass and you will get more chances to get potential funding from all the networks of investors, and also some of the other benefits and prizes are waiting, which is some kind of surprise, which I will announce at the grand final. But also for the other finalists, we normally have a closed follow-up session after this session to get more voice from your side and what kind of partnerships you are expecting, particularly within this AI Innovation Factory program, as particularly a potential partnership opportunity with the United Nations and some of our partners as well. And also, I'd like to also deliver some feedback from the judges to you guys. So we will have some kind of feedback sessions later on. I will separately communicate to you guys. All right, so thank you for waiting for this final also announcement, and then thanks a lot to our judges and then startups and also audience for participating in today's sessions. It's a really, really great experience for me and also for the ITU as well. So we learned a lot from our innovators. There's great ideas and the passions and enthusiasm. Also, thanks a lot to our judges for your great sometimes difficult questions and challenging questions and insightful, your own opinion as well. All right, and then there is a small last poll here about the, here we go. So how likely are you to recommend this webinar to a friend or colleague? Unfortunately, the judges are not allowed to do that because it's some kind of bias, I think. All right, okay, so for the audience, please put, I can see 10 over there. So, all right, okay, so here we go. So thanks a lot again to everybody, and then keep in touch, and then also stay tuned with all different programs in the AI for Good Innovation Factory. We have a lot of other programs under the AI for Good Global Summit on the different thematic webinars, and then we continue all our activities through the whole year. And then thanks a lot again. Okay, have a good day or afternoon or evening or good night wherever you are, and then thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Get some sleep, Josh.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, thank you very much.
Selector, rewind selector, rewind selector. Rewind selector, rewind selector, rewind selector. Selector, rewind selector, rewind selector. Rewind selector, rewind selector, rewind selector. Selector, rewind selector, rewind selector. Rewind selector, rewind selector, rewind selector.